Hello everybody, can you hear me alright? What do we got here in the chat? Chucky, or ChusyK23, however you say that. Sage, Dylan, welcome, thanks for coming. And whoever else is here, thanks for coming. Sorry for the gap between now and the last stream. The Tachikoma video took a while to make. Oh look, it's Blue Parappa. Thank you, Blue Parappa. Tonight we're just drinking some Conch Zero. No weird soda water thing. You're welcome, Dylan. I try to have a chill stream. What do you mean those ones figs in a video, Chusy? Which figures are you talking about? Hello, Ethan. I'll show this off at a few points during the stream, but since you're all here first, I'll just show you what the third protagonist looks like. Here's a raw work in progress live shot for you. The camera's focusing. Chusik. Hi Jetto, thanks for coming in. You dropped by just in time to see a preview of the kitbash that's the next Gamma Wolves project. Yeah, Dylan. Coke Zero's pretty classy. Oh, the... Yeah, I don't know, Chusy, I don't like make plans that far in advance for what figures are gonna appear in videos. Nice. Yeah, Sage, it's mostly gonna be orange. I only just started painting this orange color on today, and as you can see I need to add this gray base for it. So it's gonna be primarily orange. And you know, orange goes really well with turquoise and also goes well with black, so I figured it would be a pretty good choice for the next Gamma Wolves project. On the backpack, I kitbashed here, there's a lot of G parts. If you're wondering, there's some in there. Those are G parts. And then there's some G parts on the gun here. Does anyone recognize where this gun came from? Some trivia for you. And can anyone figure it out? Well, you'll probably be a fan of this one, Sage. Yeah, Jetto, it's got some Astaroth, some Gushin rebake in it. Yeah, Dylan, it's got Gushin rebake and some Astaroth, but it doesn't have any Exia. I haven't written the stats yet. But as you can see, it's gonna have one big gun. And some armor here, a power fist. Yeah, Ethan, I'll figure out the stats for it when I'm done painting it and I'm working on the video script and stuff. And these are just wires that I have for it that'll run from this point in the gun into his backpack to have a cool wired gun look, kind of like how the Grays has, but I'm not using a guitar string this time. Good to hear, Sage. Alright, I'll leave this here for another minute, because next, let's do the can crack for the night. For those of you who didn't see, we got a Conch Zero. So here's a nice crispy can crack. And I didn't get any Coke on the model, so that's good. Cheers, everybody. I don't remember who was the record keeper, but I think the burp record is 5 burps in a stream, so let's try and get to 6 today. Mad Kava, you're my favorite Jared Leto. Well, thank you. Name's not Jared, but I get what you mean. Okay, well, I'll bring this back out to show people a few other points throughout the night. If I finish the base and I feel like painting, I'll just go and keep painting that one. But I did say this was the base painting stream. Ethan, it's not Barbie's gun. It's actually from the Fenrir LBX kit I painted. He originally had like a sniper rifle. But then I painted that in Model Mayhem style and I gave him a sword instead. So I'm using his gun on this project. So, as I was saying, we got the base here. 100mm product from Reaper. This just has some gray surface primer sprayed on it. I had to sand it down a bit and there's a little mistake there, but it doesn't matter because it's going to get covered in turquoise paint anyways. And I thought about like pre-drawing in the pattern, but I figured I might as well do that part live as well. And I just wing that part basically. And like if you've seen one of the patterns on the bases before, it doesn't get too too complicated or fancy. So I just have a ruler here and I just start going for it. And I'm just using a pencil. You can always change these lines later. And you can probably barely tell what that looks like on the stream, just because of the way the camera's set up. Yeah, I'll just try and draw this quickly then so we can move on to actual painting where you'll be able to see what's happening. But I'm trying to avoid doing any patterns here. I just want like a bunch of lines to intersect, but I don't want any parts of the base to like look similar, if that makes sense. Or yeah, I don't want any parts of the base to match each other, you could say. Which sometimes is a little tricky to do. That's all part of the process and the aesthetic puzzle you gotta do. And yeah, sometimes I have to change the way I paint, or like go back and paint over something because the pattern didn't work out or I wasn't paying attention to something. What would the role of this guy be in the game? Well, he's on the Protagonist team, so and he's gonna be a medium frame, not a heavy frame, so, and long range fire support. So yeah, I guess that's the easiest way to describe the role of this one. It'd be long range fire support. Yeah, definitely a support Sage. Gotta have those on the team, because the Wing Zero kitbash, the pansexual Wing Zero, that one's got 2 swords and no guns, so he's, you know, like the close combat. And I guess he would be like melee DPS, he wouldn't be the tank. Heavy arms, I guess. I think I said he was the leader, and he kind of has like a mixed loadout, so he's yeah, he's just got like a mixed use because he's the leader. That's how I organized that one. But Protagonist team isn't done yet. I haven't locked in all their stats yet. We'll get there eventually though. Don't worry. I don't want to rush it. I think I just accidentally let out some air from what could have been the first burp. Well, you'll just have to wait and see, Ethan. There'll definitely be more projects painted in Model Mayhem style. Oh hey, Robert. Which of the Gambles projects would I pilot? That's a good question. I don't know, I would probably lean towards one of the more ranged support ones like this one, or maybe the Greys. Hello, Riptos. Okay. How are we doing with this pattern? We definitely need some more lines still. Yeah, like I was saying before, sometimes I have to change the way I've like blocked out the colors of the pattern if I don't like if I paint it in a certain way, there might be like matching colors next to each other on the patterns, which is what I try and avoid doing for the sake of visual interest. I guess, yeah, you can kind of see the lines here, like this area in here. I think I need to change it, I'm just not sure. Or maybe we can get away with just one line from here to here. Well, that might be a decent enough spread that we're looking for there. I feel like maybe one more line here. I don't think it needs it. Let's just start blocking the colors in on this and see how that goes. You'd pilot the heavy arms? Yep. That sounds like a good choice too, Ethan. You'd pilot this one, Sage? Oh yeah, Rob, the Gamma Wolves and model business. Do you mean like the gunpla model kits, or like model kits in general? Well, once I got both of my Gamma Wolves teams done, I'm definitely looking forward to actually playing some. Okay. Start working on getting some paint. Right now, I'm gonna try and make this wet palette paper last the entire project. Right now we got just some orange and gray on there, and it looks like it didn't bleed across the entire wet palette, so that's good, but I do need to add a little bit of water. Let's see. Well, we'll start off with just tracing all the lines I drew on here with some black. The miniatures and gunpla. Yeah, I'm sure some people that play Gamma Wolves are more... Oh, check out this crusty paint that's built up on here. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by this peel here. I know some people that save these in jars, or I know one person that does that. Yeah, I was saying, Rob, some people I'm sure pay more attention to like the scale of terrain and like gunpla models they're using if they use them for Gamma Wolves. But for me, I like mix the 1/100 scale and the 1/144th scale ones on the same teams just because I like being janky like that. No one's gotten triggered at me for doing that yet, so. Nice, Sage. Your first gunpla miniature? What, did you buy the gunpla kit already, Rob? Because I got some tips for you, but start with what you're working with first, I guess. Alright, see ya, Ethan. Sorry I missed your messages before. Yeah, so what I'm doing here, I'm just tracing out those lines I drew with some black. Nothing too fancy here. The paint is flowing. I might do some of the base rim while I'm here too. I think in my pansexual Wing Zero video I said Or like I timed myself on painting a base and I think it took me about 90 minutes. I can't actually remember now. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes me doing this while chatting on stream and stuff. Well, Rob, how I like to do gunpla is I usually just like build it as fast as possible out of box by like just doing the I use my crappy clippers to snip the first, like do the first snip of the piece off the runner, and you snip it in a way so it leaves a bit of like a plastic nub on the part still, and then I use my like precision nippers after that to cut the nub off the piece. So just like a 2-snip system. Cool, there we go. There's burp 1. 2-snip system. Get it built up quickly and then, you know, play around with it, pose it. Because when it's like built and stuff, and you can play around with it, you can figure out what parts of the kit are like flimsy, or what parts you would want to kitbash, or like even just how you would want to paint it. And then from there, decide what you're gonna do with the kitbash, disassemble it, sand it. A lot of the time the kits I paint for Gamma Wolves are the ones that are more on the flimsy side and kind of like annoying to pose, or like have a trouble standing up. So that's kind of how I justify gluing them in place. I guess I can kind of show what this one here. Oh, it's not fully glued in place, like this section of the arm here. If I didn't glue that in place, then when I moved it, the paint, or when I would move it, the acrylic paint would just rub off, right? And also the way I paint it with the shadows and highlights, it's dependent on like the light source and the angle of all the pieces being relatively constant. But as you can see here, like this one, it can still pivot at the waist and the head, and like this part of the arm can still pivot here as well. The legs can move a bit, but they'll basically be steady because it gets glued to the base. But like, I don't know if you have any experience with gunpla before, but some kits, like, yeah, they're really cool and complex, intricate and everything, but if you imagine trying to use it in like a war game in like a 40k type setting, it would just be a nightmare because it would fall over all the time. So what I'm doing with the Gamma Wolves is kind of like the hybrid in between, trying to get the best worlds of the gunpla and the minis. Hey Jason, thanks for coming. And glad you enjoy the content, genuinely grievous. Seems that people get pretty excited for the Gamma Wolves stuff. Yeah, hopefully that tip or long-winded explanation helped, Rob, but you know, you can reach out to me anytime. Feel free. And everyone in the chat, feel free to let me know if something has gone out of the camera frame or out of focus. Anything like that. Oh, your Tau Commander, the Commander Crisis suit, is it? I think my third or second video on the channel ever was painting the Tau Commander Crisis suit. I was in really bad condition though, so I painted it very grimdark and weathered. Because that plastic was in a haggard state, I tell you. And I also pulled some heresy and put it on a privateer press base. hair's getting pretty long, Juicy. Too long, some might say. I mostly just don't like getting haircuts, that's why it's long. Well, and ever since, what was it, maybe like 2015 was when I started noticing the Jared Leto comparisons coming in. And, I like channeling the era of Jared Leto where he has the, like, long hair and beard, I guess. No, I haven't made a diorama Sage. Yeah, doing a game on stream would be cool, Robert. I wouldn't be able to do that right now, though, just because I'm still, like, a one-man show. I would definitely need one, if not two. Well, I would need someone to play Gamma Wolves with, and then I would probably need someone to help run the stream to do, like, a... Well, maybe it depends. There's a lot to think of there. I would definitely need to change my setup a lot to have multiple cameras going, because this is just like a laptop webcam, and then this is my main camera up here, but I mostly just have the one. I might be able to hook up one of my older cameras. That would be such a process to get set up and everything. Definitely would be a really cool thing to do, but would be quite the process. It would take away a lot of time from working on the regular videos to get out onto the YouTube, and I'm already super behind on that. YouTube wants me to upload way more frequently than I do, but my videos take so long to make. I'm trying to work faster now, and so I'm painting something for a video right now, but doing it on stream. I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, Morbius. I might see Morbius just so I can like see how Jared Leto compares look-wise to me now. Although I think Morbius was filmed like multiple years ago probably, and just is coming out now because of the global situation. Hello MJRL Hobby Stuff, thanks for coming. Just working on a base here. Okay, well we got the black on now. This area and this area look a little too big now, but I probably won't feel that way once I get the colors on. Although now that I am looking at it, I could add just like one line here perhaps, and that would leave this as the biggest area on it. Either that, or I could like paint a line there. You know, I still got black on the palette. Let's just add more lines. What the heck? Do all that killing. Yeah. Just gonna freehand a straight line. Straight-ish. And then here we'll just go. Yeah, this way's good enough. This is gonna be a little bit of a bent line again. Just gotta line it up to the corner. We'll call that straight enough. I rearranged my broom setups. Now the paint water's on the other side of the mic. I suppose I can move the paint water over here to provide potentially some ASMR for you. No, I'll leave the water over here for now because I want the palette to be in a spot where you can see the turquoise colors well. Speaking of turquoise, guess we'll start with the dark one. Just good old P3 coal black. I haven't used this in a while though, so it's gonna need a bit of a shake. Shake it near the mic. I don't know if you can hear the paint slopping around. So what's everyone up to tonight? I think Sage said you're working on a some barbatoses. Jay, you were doing your battle suit, or you just finished it, or almost finished it, or something. I use this coal black color so much that even though this pot is like still has a ton of paint in it, I'm like, I need to get another one in case the paint disappears. I need a stockpile. Alright, so we're gonna start blocking the colors in now. And do my best to make sure the colors don't touch. Which is always a bit of an improvisational process. We'll see if I end up changing my mind on any placements. Okay, let's do... Aiming to roughly fill up just a third of the triangle, because there's 3 shades of turquoise, so 3 different spots to put 3 colors. And there's gonna be a lot of blending and mixing going on, obviously, so I'm going for very imprecise placement here. It's all very like fluid and loosey-goosey. Hope you all can see what I'm doing alright. I can move the camera a little closer to the base if you like. Almost on edge highlighting, nice. Oh cool, and you're doing the magnet thing. Barbatorus, nice. What are you doing for the Zaku Aurelius contest? Feels good to be back streaming again. I'm hoping I can do it somewhat regularly, like a once a week type deal, alternating between like a daytime afternoon stream and an evening stream like this. Yeah, see, already this color I think I'm gonna need to change how I placed it. I'll come back to that section in a minute. Because here is going to be like the brightest, so that means here. Yeah, so here will be dark. Every time I do one of these bases, slash just most things I do in general, it's a lot of winging it. Figuring it out as I go. That sounds very inspired. MJRL hobby stuff. Oh, that's a cool one too, Riptos. We got a lot of barbatos being worked on tonight. So then this one, dark would start here. Yeah, if any of you watched my last stream, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about my Vidarbatos kitbash. It's gonna get finished one day. But that's like a streaming, or that was always intended as like a streaming only project, so. And I've always, the entire time I've known that that's just gonna be like a really long project, so I've just kind of accepted that it's gonna take, I gotta take my time with that one because it's just big. There's lots of edges to highlight. Burp. Burp 2. Is that the main color, Sage? Like, is the majority of the color on the kit gonna be that blue or teal? I mean, if you want to play around with mixing paints together, you could use both. Do some sections blue, some sections teal, and then tie them together by making other sections a combination of blue and teal. But that's the kind of thing you would like, I would use in combination with masking, and if you don't feel like doing masking, I get that. On some of my Gamma Wolves projects, I use Games Workshop bases. They have like the bumpy texture on the top, so I had to add a layer of plastic art on top. So it's a bit more extra work to do it on a Games Workshop base, but I like painting the rims on those ones better. These ones kind of have the lip here, which is like once you've done all the gradient work on there, it's really annoying to like paint the rim lip all the way around. So I prefer the Games Workshop bases for the rims, but the Reaper ones I have to do less work, and also they're cheaper. Oh hey, Leonel Builds. Thanks for coming. Oh, it's an underwater mobile suit, Sage. Well, I think I'm leaning more towards teal personally, but you live your own truth. Okay, well, so far there's only been like one section on this base that I'm definitely like need to change the color placement a bit, so that's not too bad. Like there's a few places where the colors are like some matching colors are gonna touch here, but it's not like the entire border between them is gonna be touching, so that's totally acceptable for me. How you doing, Leonel? What you working on? You just chilling? Now, speaking of underwater mechs, Sage, my favorite, which I still haven't found at the store yet, is the Zoc. It's just like one of the really goofy... It's like a Gog, but like more egg-shaped and pointy. I have the high Gog sitting in my backlog, which is like a Gog with just like long, goofy arms. So I'm waiting until I have a good idea for something to do with that, but I'm a big fan of the Gog with long, goofy arms. Goofy, get it? Okay, let's do... Yeah, we can do here. Yeah, so this section here, I'll be covering this up after. I'll just have to use some extra paint, but we're gonna like spread it across horizontally here instead. So that's just gonna make the color separation a little better. Okay, yeah, it's all coming together now. And then here, start the gradient this way. Cool, thanks for swinging by, Leonel. Yeah, painting these bases is always fun for me. Well, this will be, what, number 6, I think? Yeah, because I got Wing 0, Heavy Arms, Goof, Graze, Barbatos. Yeah, so this will be the 6th one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't go anywhere, anyone watching. I showed this at the beginning, but I'll show it again. Here's the fancy sneak preview of Protagonist number 3, the next Gamma Wolf's kitbash. This is what's gonna be going on the base for tonight. You can see the main color on this is gonna be orange, but it's a very early work in progress. It's mostly an Iron-Blooded Orphans kitbash, but this gun here is actually from the LBX Fenrir kit. And then I have some wires that'll be running from the gun into the like backpack here. Because, you know, it's a big laser gun, it needs a big battery backpack. Burp 3. Alright, hopefully everyone got a look at that there. Killer, thank you. Okay, did I get all this? Okay, we just got one section left here. I guess I'll do it that way. The space is very chaotic and is not following a pattern, but that's kind of on purpose, I guess. It's kind of how I've done all of them. You know, they all like look consistent next to each other because they're all using the same colors. Although there is one new paint I'm going to try out on this one for the highlighting. I picked up this verdigris on a whim. Is the camera going to focus? Too close, probably. I hope the camera's... Yeah, it seems like it's been focusing the whole night so far. Yeah, Robert, I thought about making myself the pilot as a joke in the script, but I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. It seems kind of like too pretentious or too arrogant, maybe. But the pilot of this kit though is gonna be fun. It's not gonna be me. And yeah, the hobby stuff, the LBX kits, they have some really cool looks to them, and they're very affordable. And some of the more expensive ones are actually like really nice kits that I've seen Blue Parappa build. But the Fenrir, like I painted it in Model Mayhem style because it was so flimsy. It could like you could barely get it into a basic standing pose without it. It's like ankles falling apart. But it was in such a cheap price range that you can't even like be mad about it. Alright, now we're on to Meridius Blue. The middle turquoise. Love this color. And at this step, all you need to thin, or all I thin with, is water. I haven't broken out the glaze medium yet. Have I done any figurized kits? Yeah, I've done the Imperial Dramon, and Omegamon, and Dukemon. I think just those ones. Blue Parappa's done the Metal Garurumon. That one was pretty cool. And like I said before, I'm not worrying too much about getting like good even ratios. Here we're still kind of like just blocking stuff in. I don't really focus too hard on getting the ratio, the like even thirds in until I get closer to the like blending stage. I believe way back in my goof video, this is like the hot garbage stage of the base, so we're going to be in the hot garbage mode for the next little while. Which goes for like painting most minis I find, or like almost everything I've painted, it's like, it has the ugly phase. Yeah, like this section, I could almost, like I could justify just combining this section or like flipping the gradient. Possibly. Yeah, but if I flip the gradient, yeah, then things would just combine, like be next to each other on other sections. I could just like paint over the line here and just merge this into one section. I think I'm just gonna do that. Good, so you can all see how I just wing it and change things on the fly in real time. And also, like, if I go through all the way and finish the base when I'm doing a project like this and there's a spot that I made, like, that I find a mistake that legit needs to be fixed, sometimes I can get around that by just figuring out a way of placing the mech on the base where his foot will cover up the mistake. It's got one way to salvage it as well. Nice, the Ultraman kits look pretty cool too. I don't really haven't watched any Ultraman, but I appreciate the aesthetic. What part did you steal, Sage? I finished the Coke, but I've only done 3 burps. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to 6 tonight. What a disappointment. Well, we'll see. There's still hope. I gotta pay attention to the stream viewers next time I burp and see if how many people it goes down by. Yeah, for a second I thought that like I would have to combine these parts too, but then I realized the dark gradient is at a different spot on each, so there'll be enough contrast between those two for sure. Okay, now we can move on to the third one. Yeah, I probably could binge it if I wanted to. The thing I've been binging lately, though, is Total War Warhammer 3. Although it's not installed on my computer right now because I got videos to work on. And it's a good game, so it's very distracting. Oh, and the third turquoise is arcane blue. That's a good piece to steal, Sage. The last thing I binged was, I think it was The Witcher Season 2. It was a pretty bingeable show. Probably putting that on a bit too thick, but it doesn't matter too much at this stage. Right, and then these are the sections I'm combining. So like this section might be a little awkward now because it's not quite a triangle anymore. But also like the base isn't the main focus, right? People's eyes are going to be looking at the mech, and also the mech's foot can probably just like cover up that part of the base. So I'm gonna move forward. Yeah, that song sure slaps. The episode in season 1 where that song happened, I definitely had it stuck in my head the day after. I feel like bards are finally getting their time to shine. Bards have been like kind of an underrated D&D class for a while. Since I'm a YouTuber, if I was a D&D character, I'd be a bard. I feel like being a YouTuber is very bard adjacent. Usually the D&D characters I play though aren't bards, but usually I'm the dungeon master, so it doesn't count. So, taking a cursory glance at the base here. Don't see any areas I need to like rework blocking wise. Before I move on to starting with the glazing and blending and all that though, I'm just gonna keep using the paint that's on the palette and just like put on more base coats essentially, because some areas you can see the gray still kind of showing through. Sometimes it feels like when I'm doing the blends, or like I usually just call it, say I'm glazing, but sometimes it feels like I'm also doing a bit of wet blending. But you know, sometimes the other colors, like the paint isn't wet still, so it's more of a glaze. But sometimes when I hit that area, it is wet still, so it's like then down with glaze medium, but like the blending the paints together while they're still wet is doing a lot of work for me as well. So maybe you'll see some of that tonight. Thanks, Rob, you too. Thanks for coming by, appreciate it. Oh, it was from your brother's comment, Sage. Didn't know that. Depends on how much he cares about his gunpla. If it was just sitting on his shelf collecting dust, maybe he'll be like, yeah, whatever, you can have that bit. Yeah, this part of painting is super fun because it's just lots of swishing the brush around all messy, just blending stuff. Yeah, you can see this section here needs a bit of reworking on the gradient just because of how I pivoted with the plan there. How's it look now, people? Do you think we're past the... what did I call it? The hot garbage phase? Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I think we're still in the hot garbage phase for now, but hot garbage phase is like pretty enjoyable to paint, not gonna lie. So you can see I am starting to do a bit of blending already. Oh yeah, you're probably fine then, Sage. If he gets mad, you can just tell him you're revitalizing his neglected kid or something. Oh, was that number 4? Burp 4? I think that's number 4. Feels like that might be the last one. Oh damn, that time I gained a viewer after burping, so... I don't know how much of the delay there is, though. I haven't actually counted it. Maybe they just haven't heard it yet. Yeah, I'm probably, or I should be able to finish painting this base on the stream as intended, so to fill out the rest of the time on the stream, I'll probably just like go back to painting the mech itself. Okay, at this point I'm going to start using our good old friend glaze medium. Oh, it dropped down to 5 viewers, maybe that's what the burp did. Or maybe it's all a coincidence. Yeah, Choosy, all the bases I've done for Gamma Wolves are the same palette as the Goof, because they're all like, you know, when you have a army of miniatures for a tabletop game, usually they're all based in the same way, because it looks better when they're consistent. So that's what I'm doing with the Gamma Wolf stuff. But the have you seen my Vidar Batos kitbash? Because that one I'm painting in Model Mayhem style, but I'm not using I'm painting the base with a different pattern. If you haven't seen that one, I'll go grab it in a minute to show you, because I like how the colors on that base went. 2 drops of glaze medium, maybe that'll be too much. Also, this second drops look a lot more white than that first drop. Maybe I didn't mix it well enough. Alright, thanks for coming, Sage. Have a good one yourself. Let's back to the coal black. We need a bit more of that on the palette. Oh, we're back to 11 viewers. It was just a glitch. Now I just gotta do some fun paint mixing on the palette here. And you know, at this point, if they start touching each other and mixing together, that's actually what we want. So what we don't want though is this beard hair that was on the wet palette. Let's get rid of that. It's a problem I run into sometimes, you know. Okay, we got some glaze medium mixed in there. Yeah, let's just start mixing these colors together a bit. let the glazing begin. And this is, as I've said in my videos before, this is the part that just involves a lot of like going back and forth, you know, like glazing a bunch of one color and then being like, oh, I glazed a bit too far in that direction, let's correct that, and then that causes something that needs to be corrected on the other end. But it's all part of the process, and it's a very enjoyable process, for me at least. Just a lot of fun brush wiggling. It's like when you put the wet paint on, it looks a lot, like the color looks different from when it dries up, so kind of like need to just slap it on there and then paint a bunch of other areas, come back to it, and you see it's dry, and then you see what you need to change about it. And it's kind of, it doesn't really matter if it's super messy work, because like I said before, this is the base. People are going to be looking at the mech that's on the base. The base is just there to complement. And that just goes for a lot of model painting in general. It's always easy to like think about the mistakes you made yourself because you know they're there, but a lot of times people just won't notice them. To the higher end and do these areas. Let's start over here. Almost feels like I thinned it a bit too much. You know, the further along in this stage I go, the more, like, as I paint more, I need to get more refined and like tidy. Because, you know, the more I glaze, the closer I get to locking down the gradients, and the more I need to start paying attention to, you know, where the color transition should stop and all that. Because I was painting orange earlier, the paint water just looks like gross, like Swamp Shrek tier right now. Okay, we need to add some Meridius Blue to the palette. Has everyone watching gotten a chance to see the Gamma Wolf's kitbash that's gonna go on this base? When the paint runs out on the palette again, I can show it again. How many people watching have been playing Elden Ring this week? I myself just kind of appreciate the From Software games from a distance. So I'm more of a turn-based game guy, unless it's like Vermintide, I guess. A few exceptions. But I do appreciate Elden Ring's existence. That was possibly a bit too much paint on the palette, teehee. Okay, I think I'll start by just reinforcing the middle color here, and we'll just try to focus on actually hitting like the midpoint and defining what the middle part of the color transition should be. And of course we'll blend the edges of this a bit. Let's try and do it while it's still wet, I suppose. Makes sense. Wet palette skin, paint on the wet palette might be just a little too thin. Yeah, there's a bit of a wet blend going on there. And let's try the brighter end. Oh, I was blocking the base with the stream overlay. I should make sure I don't do that. Sorry for any mic interference there. So yeah, at this point, like, I got the gradient all on the wet palette here, so I'm just kind of going with the flow, switching between colors on the fly, and just blending the areas that I see need blending. And I stop and assess my progress when the paint needs refilling on the palette, kinda. Yes, I am still painting, Choosy. Yeah, fair enough, Dylan. I played like the first level of Dark Souls, and then at the time I probably was like, I think I'm gonna go back to Total War. I mean, Total War Warhammer is challenging too, but in a way, in like a totally different way than the Dark Souls FromSoft challenge level. So what did you all think of my real grade Hainu Tachikoma custom? Or the video? Did you watch it? Could be an impromptu Q&A session for that video if you have any questions. I wonder if George R. R. Martin's gonna finish the next Game of Thrones book now that Elden Ring's out. Doesn't really matter much to me because I stopped after the second Game of Thrones book, but hey, I know some people have been waiting a while for that, or for the next Game of Thrones book. I don't remember why I never moved on to the next one. It was probably because I just wanted to get on to watching the show. I was like, 2 books is enough. It appears the camera is rocking a little bit from pressure on the desk. Hopefully that's not too annoying for everyone. Yeah, Dylan, the colors on the Hainu turned out better than I thought they would. Glad you like them. Do we need to paint to dry before? No, let's blend. Let's go back to the dark end. Still have a bit of paint I can salvage on here. kind of running out of that color. Let's just use up the light colors that are on the palette. I can take a quick breather before it's time to refill the paint. Damn, this is coming together faster than I even thought it would. The blending part, I guess it usually flies by, probably because I have the most fun. It'll slow down, or it'll feel like it slows down a lot once I start doing the edge work. Oh, you watched it with your girlfriend, Choosy. Thank you for roping her into it. The Jesus of YouTube Gundam, wow. The color shifter paint. Yeah, the color shifter paint's hard. It took me a while to like get the hang of actually like figuring out how it changes. It's more like if you move the model around under a light, sometimes you can't see it change much. It's more like if you change the angle you're looking at it. Like there's some photos I took of the real grade Hainu where you can really tell by the angle it was shot at that it like totally changed the color of the shifter paint. But yeah, and then some of them it just looks like it's kind of metallic purple. I'd say like most shifter paints I've experienced, like the shifting effect is more subtle than you usually think it is. But that Pearl Violet one I used, out of all the shifter paints I have, I'd say that was one of the more noticeable ones. Yeah, I totally get why you would think it's like not that noticeable though. Totally understandable. I think it just like it won't always, you won't always see the shifting effect under all light. It's just like certain angles of light or like certain ways of moving the angle you're looking at it or the angle of the light can really show it off, but not every like. Some things that you think might make it go crazy with the color don't. It's kind of hard to describe. Why, hello, Kosher Productions. Thanks for coming. What's up? Alright. Time to refill the palette. I mean, with how this looks now, probably just need to refill a bit of paint and glaze medium to do one more round of blending, and then from there the blending will probably be done. I can move on to the edge work and tidy up the borders and all that. Got Meridius, now we got Arcane. And Cold Black. And probably we'll do 2 drops of glaze medium, but we'll hit it like in between the colors this time. This last time there was a bit too much glaze medium, so this will be a less overall. I'm gonna add some more water to the wet palette now too. Climate here is pretty dry, so gotta keep that topped up. Oh, so this is your first time on my channel ever, Kosher? It's funny, I haven't streamed in a while because I've been busy making my, like, latest video. Whoops, sorry, I totally bumped the camera there. Hopefully that wasn't too disorienting. And I got a little streak of paint here, that was my mistake. Let's clean that up. Oh, don't worry, Juicy. I took a nice drink of water. I'm a big fan of hydration. Oh, I got a little drop of water on there. I have to blow that. This is just like an air blower. Just don't want like an annoying water droplet line to form. Well, welcome, Kosher. I don't stream that often. I'd like to more, but if you watch one of my videos, you'll see that I do have to spend a lot of time editing, so take a gander if you like. Right now I'm painting a base for this kitbash. This Ironblood Orphans kitbash for, I put them on bases like this and paint them kind of like a mini for the game Gamma Wolves, if you've heard of it. But I'm a miniature, I'm been doing a lot of gunpla stuff over the last couple years, but my background is a miniature painter, so I'm kind of like merge the two. I kind of like to merge the two different hobby worlds for my own projects. Are you a gunpla person or a minis person or neither of those? Yeah, I could do that, Cheesy, but that's at my other desk that's in the corner of the room. And you know, then I gotta turn the get the compressor warmed up and everything. And I've got the air blower just over at my desk all the time, so. And I still manage to find dusts in my pictures after. Dust, my arch nemesis, wins every time. Yes, now I have to be a lot more deliberate with my glazing and try and determine like what is enough of a transition and what is not smooth enough. Understandable, Kosher, that putting the gunpla together is one of the more relaxing parts, for some anyways. Yeah, you can see my wet palette's kind of becoming a little bit of a mess right now. Colors are bleeding into places they shouldn't, but that's okay. They're not godlike, Juicy. I just changed the parts of the kits that I don't like to be more suited to my tastes. All things considered, my kit bashes, I think, are more on the simpler side. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't say godlike. It would be kind of pretentious to call my own skills godlike. Glad you think so, Kosher Productions. Yeah, Cyber Scorpio. It's the just regular high-grade Astaroth kit with the Gushin Rebake Full City, but then this gun is from a LBX kit. I'm glad I could help you out that way, LWW Caleb. I try to make my content entertaining. Entertaining yet informative. I feel like I always have the goal of it trying to make people laugh at least once. Ideally more than once, depending on how many jokes I cram into the script. Yeah, now I feel like I'm getting dangerously close to like over glazing and like blending a transition but then bleeding too much into the next transition and then having to go back and fix that. I tend to do that when I'm at this stage of painting the bases, I think. Oh, interesting, juicy. Yeah, the collab video I did with the Plasmotherapist, that's one of my better performing ones over like the last little while. I wonder how many of those views were just from you. Interesting, I've never had anyone say that one's their favorite. I'm pretty happy with how that one turned out still, and yeah, the kit bashing process on that was pretty straightforward. Like, I just kind of, the pieces, you know, from kits that were similar, they just went together, and it didn't take long for me to hit a point where I was like, you know, this is good. I think that's all the kit bashing I need to do. Yeah, the goof was a very important project for me that really got the ball rolling for me on my hybrid painting style. It wasn't the first kit I painted in that way. That was the grays I did, the purple one, but the goof was like the first video I did painting a kit in that way, and it's my most viewed video because people seem to like that goof. I like it too. So yeah, makes sense that that'd be the video you've seen before. So yeah, like this piece of turquoise I just put on here, I feel like I went a bit too wide on it, and now I need to like re-blend the edges of it. So I'm just gonna block out the middle turquoise on every triangle here, and then we'll do one last round of blending. Hopefully. Maybe we'll have to do another one after, you never know. You can see I'm kind of going back to some areas that still have wet paint on them to just grab more paint for the brush. I'll do that sometimes. So if you pool too much on there, it might dry a little funny sometimes. Interesting. Yeah, that goof video, it's definitely out of all the like videos on YouTube of like hand painting, or if you do like a search for hand painting gunpla, like that video, it's probably fairly likely to come up. I just need more of my hand painting gunpla videos to get as many views as that one. And then I can make sure I can keep doing this and painting mechs like that before I run out of money and have to stop doing YouTube as much because I gotta work at just some random job. That's not gonna happen anytime soon, you don't need panic or anything, but if I don't get more of that YouTube success soon, I'm gonna have to pivot just out of necessity. Welcome back, Sage. Okay, I'm not just gonna use the coal black here, no glaze medium. We're just gonna reinforce the very back end of the gradient here. Made a little mistake there. I'll have to fix that. It's always a few mistakes. Totally normal. For me, at least. Okay, now let's reinforce the brightest end. Curiosity killed the cat. Have you ever thought about painting one of my possible projects in your paint style? What do you mean by that? I've got like kind of like I said in my Techicoma video, it's like I'll have projects I'll do in traditional style and projects I'll do in Model Mayhem style, so I have various projects planned out in the future for both of those kinds of styles. So yeah, I am painting more of my possible projects are being painted in this paint style, if that's what you mean. Oh, posable. I mean, this, every time I do a project like this, I try and do the least amount of gluing possible. I have to I try and find a balance between not so many moving parts that in the process of painting it, it'll just chip from cause, you know, when I'm holding it to paint, you hold it at various angles and you touch it and things, you know, might move a bit, and then that can cause paint to scrape. Rub off, especially with this acrylic. But I also I don't ever want to completely 100% lock the pose in place, because, you know, if I make a bad pose, then it's stuck in that bad pose forever. So it's all about trying to find the balance between glued enough that it's stable to use as a tabletop game piece without completely ruining the paint job, but also posable enough that I can still get the quality of photos that I want from it. And yeah, Juicy, the God Gundam, I don't think, or I'm not able to get the kit as early as, you know, other Mecha Gaikos will be able to get it. But I'm gonna get it. But I also don't know what I want to do with that one exactly. Yeah, I know I could try and get be more aware of like what kits are hype and put videos out about those, but you really have to like grind to get those videos out fast enough sometimes, and that can just lead to burnout for me. I find like I get less burnt out when I am just following my heart, so to speak, and just doing what I'm in the mood for creatively. Like, I kind of tried to do that with my high new originally in the fall, because, you know, I knew if you put a video out about that kit, you know, closer to when it's released, more people are talking about it and you might get more views. You know, that's why I made a joke about it in the beginning of my last videos, where the high news says, like, better customize me before I lose relevance. But I kind of stopped caring about that a while ago, and I had to pivot and make the decision to, you know, make the content I want to make, because if I make content trying to cater to the YouTube algorithm, then that just makes me burn out and not work at all. Well, Kosher, if you're doing it in a way where you want to be able to like take the part afterwards, some people will just either clip pegs off one model and put it on the new backpack, like modify the part so it has the pegs the right fit, or like with this one, since this is more of a game piece, I just straight up glued it on because it doesn't need to be disassembled after. I'd say like most like more like gunpla focused builders, that would probably be something like you build, like you modify the piece so the pegs will fit, so it'll plug in, either by buying like just plastic materials like cylinders, or clipping pegs off another kit. There's a lot of different ways a backpack can connect. Like the way Astray backpacks connect is usually like fairly different. The hole is like kind of on the lower back instead of like two holes at the top, like with Iron Blooded Orphans kits. Yeah, like drill and use a pin, exactly. Yeah, that's what I figured too, Dolfo. Like, the kit was so good and everyone, like, so many people liked it enough that, yeah, it's just gonna be, like, people are gonna keep posting their customs of it, because, you know, lots of people take their time, which is good. And a lot of people are still waiting on their pre-orders of it too, because Bandai didn't quite print enough to meet the demand, so for sure people are going to keep talking about it for a while. Just like people are still, I don't know how many people are still talking about the real grade Zasabi, but I'm sure there are some people. That kit's in my backlog too. I've got a plan for how I want to customize that, but you know, it's another complex real grade kit, so I don't want to jump right into one of those again. What's up, Nathaniel? Thanks for coming. What's going on? Caleb, I think the Barbatos is pretty cool. I'll probably pick one up eventually when I get the chance. Don't know how I'll customize one, but it's a Barbatos Centaur. What's not to love? Even if I didn't like the Centaur part of it, it seems like it has some good kit bashing pieces in it. Yeah, there is a just kind of gunpla shortage in general right now, from what I hear. I'm assuming most of that's due to the challenges of just the global shipping network right now. I'm assuming it's not like, or maybe it is Bandai just can't print enough kits, can't meet the demand. I know that like more people got into gunpla over the last couple years, but you know, there's gonna be a Gundam live action movie and stuff. People, even more people are gonna get into gunpla, So hopefully Bandai can catch up and meet the demand before things really start snowballing. It'll be good for all the like gunpla YouTubers if the gunpla live action movie is really good, or even just decent, gets more people into Gundam, and then a smaller amount of people will get, or will also get into gunpla. Seems like a win-win for everybody. Unless the movie's really bad, then I'll just turn people away from gunpla. What I heard one person say, and I can't forget, is that it all hinges on who they cast as Char Aznable. They need to nail the casting for Char Aznable for that movie to work. Would you agree? Kosher, I think the Zeong is a cool design, but it's not really like to my tastes, so I don't really have any motivation to pick it up. But I hear that's also a really good real grade. That's like one of those ones where I almost want to just, well, and it's kind of what I did with the Hainu. I just like built it out of box and just left it like that for a while to just appreciate how complex it is just out of box without doing anything to it. No, I haven't seen the live action show, but I've heard of it. Or are you talking about the like recent one where it's like the high school kids that build gunpla and then the gunpla gets scanned into like an augmented reality game? Oh, Mandalorian custom Gundam, that sounds cool, Nathaniel. There's a lot of good Star Wars ships to pick from for that series. Yeah, I'm getting close to the blends being where I want them to be here. I think we mostly just need to do more blending on the bright end. Yeah, I think, yeah, we'll blend in the bright end a little bit, and then we'll end off the blending with just reinforcing that middle turquoise probably. We got some annoying bubbles forming here too. Yeah, and there's a spot here, I don't know if some paint like ripped up or something, but there's a mistake there. It's a little tricky to just cover up with paint, so that's definitely a prime candidate for a spot to be covered up by the mech's foot, you know? Chris Pratt as Mario, Garfield, and now Char Aznable. I mean, Chris Pratt, it's definitely not my first choice for a Char Aznable, but it's not like the worst choice, I suppose. Yeah, if the Psycho Gundam Death Star Nathaniel, that'll work, because, you know, mono eye, that'd be what the Death Star laser comes out of. My joke answer for who to cast as Char Aznable is Michael Cera. Wouldn't you just want to see Michael Cera be Char Aznable? That'd be a riot. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Let's see, there's kind of a... Oh yeah, the camera won't focus at that distance. You can kind of see here, there's like a piece of... It's either a piece of dust or something that got painted in there. I don't want to like scrape it up necessarily, because that'll like rip up more paint. Might make the problem worse. But either way, I'll just keep blending. I'll deal with that later. Because there's more areas that need blending. Yeah, I believe it's a Netflix production, Dolfo. Yeah, and Nathaniel Portanova, that makes sense for a TIE fighter. Only a tiny bit of blending left anyways. I'm glad you like my live stream, Kosher. I tried to curate a good music playlist for the background. I enjoy streaming. I'm hoping that this stream here is like the start of more consistent streaming, maybe once a week, we'll see. The production of my regular YouTube videos kinda always has to take priority, but I do like me some streaming, and my Vidarbha Toast project needs to get finished eventually. Do I need to blend more? Well, I have more paint on the palette here, so I might as well keep blending. Paul Rudd or Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, those both would be bad chars. I mean, yeah, Ryan Reynolds would probably make a better char than Paul Rudd. I mean, I believe in Ryan Reynolds enough, like, he could pull it off, but yeah, he also wouldn't be my first choice for Char Aznable. Maybe, like, I don't know, maybe Michael Fassbender would make a good Char Aznable. What do you think? It'd be funny if Michael Fassbender could be Char Aznable, and then James McAvoy could be Amuro, and that's just like Professor X versus Magneto all over again. Yeah, Nathaniel. Netflix production, I believe. Should give it a Google. There isn't really much to see yet. There's only like 2 photos, and they're kind of just like vague. But yeah, I was saying earlier that everything hinges on their, or what I heard someone else say a while ago is everything hinges on who they cast as Char Aznable. If they don't cast a good Char Aznable, then the whole thing is doomed. And we all know that Nick Offerman has to be Rambarel. Now that, no, yeah, I guess it is because in one of the, like, production photos that they previewed, it was a picture of the RX-78 too, so I'm assuming it's like the 1 Year War Universal Century setting. It would almost be like a safer bet to do a live-action Gundam movie that's like its own original story, just set in the 1 Year War or something, but they probably just, you know, wanted... Gundam's kind of like Japanese Star Wars, so, you know, they gotta... Everyone wants to know what's going on with the Skywalkers, so gotta have the Amuro Char saga. That's my theory anyways. Yeah, exactly, Nathaniel. It could be really good, could be really bad. Yeah, Adolfo, these are all acrylic paints. The 3 turquoise I'm using on this base, these are P3 brand, but I don't exclusively use P3, I kind of just use a mix, but it's all acrylics. I paint with lacquer sometimes, and I use the G paints with my airbrush, but that's it. I suppose sometimes I use enamel panel liner too, but I don't really use enamel paints. I'm glad you agree that Fassbender would be excellent. He's a good actor. I wonder who would play Bright Noah, though. If he's in the movie. Oh, and who would be the voice of Haro? They'd probably cast some comedian or something. I think these blends are almost done. I think I just need to reinforce the middle band. Yeah. Hello, Silly Shark 9000. Thanks for coming. Oh, and hello, TMJ Studio. Oh, is that the Mighty Joe? I think that's what your logo looks like from here. Yeah, Dolfo, if you're trying to get like a smooth coat, similar to like a smooth like airbrush look with a hand paint that usually just leads to nothing but frustration, which is why it works for like the style I do, because there's a lot of gradients and edge highlighting, so it doesn't need to be smooth. But Jack Black as Harrow. Okay, so it is the Mighty Joe. Welcome. Yeah, exactly, Kosher. And Caleb, when the 2 teams are done, will I make more Gamma Wolves projects? I don't know, I haven't thought that far ahead, but I'm definitely gonna do more projects in the Model Mayhem painting style, so that's kind of a halfway of saying yes. Sorry, I just bumped the desk, everybody. Okay, we just need a little bit more Meridius blue. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna... I mean, I'd be surprised if I stopped doing Gamma Wolves content entirely once I'm done the 2 teams. But I don't know what I'm gonna do. But definitely can confirm I'll be doing more kits in the Model Mayhem painting style, which is what all the Gamma Wolves are painted like. Because it's super fun. Hello, Cole Petticord. Thanks for coming. Oh yeah, and the Mighty Joe, I've been enjoying your Wing Zero that I've seen on Instagram. I like the galaxy background and stuff you did for it. All the shading's really good. And just a little bit more glaze medium. Yeah, I'll do 2 drops. This last layer has to be pretty light. Well, almost at 2 hours in the stream. I mean, this base isn't going as fast as the last base I did like this, but the last one was purely done for speed purposes, not on stream at all, so It's about what I expected. Okay. Yeah, this one here, or like these final blends, I might just like feather them out a bit at the edges before they dry, just for an even smoother blend. Yeah, that's I know that feeling, the Mighty Joe. It's a pain in the ass, but it's done. Very relatable. Yeah, man, especially with all those like individual feather pieces. I bet that was a pain. It was worth it though, it looks great. Ah, thanks for checking them out, Dolfo. I gave him the compliment for a reason. What can I say? And Silly Shark, how much do I pay for it? Are you referring to the paints or the paint brushes? So the paints are kind of around like $5 to $7 Canadian a pop, depending on what brand I buy. This is like a nice sable paintbrush. I mean, it's in a bit of a sorry state now because I've used it a lot. But when I bought it, I think it was around $40, and that's like one of the most expensive brushes I have. But a lot of brushes I use, they'll be like $8 to $12. But then like if you're airbrushing, you gotta buy a compressor, and those can be like $300. Sup, Bo? Glad you made it. Cole Pettycard. I don't have one myself, but I've seen other people use part separators as a tool you can get that makes it easier to take apart pieces without breaking. But I don't personally use this part separator. I just wreck my fingernails instead, which isn't ideal. Maybe the next time I'm in like a shop, if I see they are selling a part separator, I'll buy one, because it's been something I've thought about a couple times. So, like, depending on the kit, there's been some kits I bet where at the end of disassembling it for painting, my fingers are just destroyed. So the way I disassemble kits definitely is not the most efficient. So maybe I should get a part separator. I don't know, I have to live pretty frugally with and like be careful with my purchases, and a part separator is definitely, I would consider, a luxury item. Like, you don't really need it. Hence why I don't have one. But I've hurt my fingers enough, maybe I should just cave and buy one. Alright, how are these blends looking? I feel like the blends, I could stop here. Feeling like I've blended those gradients enough. What do you all think? An SD Gamma Wolf's miniature. Yeah, that would definitely work. I'm sure I'll end up painting an SD in Model Mayhem style at the very least sometime. Yeah, guitar picks, those could definitely work for part separating, for sure. Yeah, Bo, you gotta take them apart sometime. You gotta take it apart to sand those nub marks, then glue it together. And yeah, that's totally fine too, Dolfo. I can totally get never wanting to disassemble a kit. It's one of my least favorite parts of the process, is the disassembling and sanding. Like most of the time it's like can be a very necessary step, but it's definitely one of the ones I have a hard time doing. Thanks TMG and Dolfo. Yeah, I'm gonna move on to the tidying up phase. So now I'm just gonna keep using Meridius Blue and just hit all the lines and just tidy up all the borders. So I think I can use this brush, keep using this brush for one more round before I switch to something smaller. The benefit of when you're picking a paintbrush to use, you always want to use the biggest size that you can get away with using, because the bigger the brush, the more paint it can hold, and that means like the less time you have to spend going back to the palette to grab more, which makes your painting faster, and like there's less interruption of the brush strokes themselves, so in theory it makes it better as well. Makes the painting better, I mean. Sorry, I keep bumping the desk. I'm still getting used to my new setup. The desk is on the other side of the room now. Probably notice the background is different. The background with all the box art is on the other side of the room now. That's just for video backgrounds now. Okay, switching gears from glazing to painting straight lines now. Maybe a bit of a different headspace. Possibly a bit harder for me to talk. Like this line has gotten a little crooked over the process of doing all the blends, so I kind of have to rebuild it. I don't put too much pressure on myself to make these lines perfectly straight though. Like I said before, people are going to be looking at the mech, not the base. Or like they won't be paying as much attention to the base as they do the mech. Taking care of my brushes. Yeah, Joe, I used to... Oh, dang, I bumped the camera again. I have these products. Fleo brush cleaner and brush restorer. So I put in the brush cleaner first. But, yeah, these are just the products that my local store happened to have for cleaning brushes. They didn't have anything else, so I don't know if this is the best one. I know some people use those like pucks of soap meant for brushes, but small brushes like these, I don't know if that soap is like, I think that soap's meant for more like artist painting on canvas. I've heard some people say it might be a little too harsh for sable brushes like this, but to be honest, like I think just it's hard not to ruin a brush. Like I wouldn't say I'm super good at taking care of my brushes either. I go through a lot of brushes. Oh, another, I guess one definitely concrete tip is you want to avoid getting paint in, let's see what the point with. You avoid getting paint in this area. I can't remember what it's called. I should remember, but I can't right now, but you don't want paint getting in this area of the brush, because then there's a chance the paint will like go inside and dry and like push apart the bristles. So if you do notice, like if you're grabbing paint from a pot or from the palette, and the paint is like gone past the brush and actually started touching the metal, I try and like clean it off right away, because you want to avoid getting paint in that area. Yeah, Caleb posting actual game or battle report of Gamolves is, it'll take a lot of work, but it would be a cool video. I need more help on hand before I can tackle a project like that. But I mean, I'm putting in all the effort to make the teams and give them stats and names and everything, so I can see why you'd suggest content like that for sure. The Feral, yeah, that's what it's called, though. Thanks for those soap recommendations. Yeah, I haven't used any Green Stuff World products, but they seem pretty cool. Same with Monument Hobbies, I hear good things about their products as well. Yeah, choosy people just asking various questions about painting. Do you have any questions? Now's a good time to ask. DJ on Mustang, I haven't played enough with the current loadouts to really comment on how I feel about them. I don't know if they're optimized or if they're jank yet, but I am definitely curious if I made a good loadout or not. Yeah, Bo, this is a Winsor Newton brush too, and it's seen better days, and I'm a little sad about it. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out the cruise as well, Dijon. A paint horse, you say, Bo? Char or Rambo-Ral? Well, I'm obligated to pick Rambo-Ral, even though I know it's more likely Char would win because he's the red comet. But you know, I gotta root for my boy Rambo-Ral. Yeah, choosy cheap brushes, I like to use those for when I'm working with like metallics. These metallics can wear down the nice sable brushes more. Synthetics are good for like metallics and inks and stuff. And if it's like a cheap synthetic, it's not as doesn't feel as bad when you wreck it. one of my goals for the near future, Kosher. Finish the Protagonist's crew for Gamma Wolves. That's a definite concrete goal I have. I have other goals I could tell you about, but I want to keep them secret for now. And obviously there's a goal of, you know, getting more success on YouTube and Patreon on that, so I can keep doing this and keep building upon it. The financial situation is still permitting it for now, but at the current rate it won't last forever. But you know, with YouTube things can change really unexpectedly sometimes. Right now I'm just happy I have the time to do a stream again. And I'm happy I was able to finally get that Real Grade Hainu video out. Super happy with how that one turned out. Sorry it took so long. Hopefully you can understand why when you think about the editing and stuff. I suppose I also have a goal, I don't know if it's in the near future, but a goal this year to finish painting my remaining Scorn, that is, my remaining Scorn minis that are currently assembled. I have some that are unbuilt that I'm not counting, but it'd be cool if I could finish all the ones that I have built. As well as the 2 Conquest units that I painted in a video last year. The unit of Brutes and the unit of Steel Legion. If I could finish those, that'd be cool. More so, my goal is to just keep painting and practicing and putting out entertaining content for the people. Yeah, Windsor and Newton are pricey, but the first time when I first used my Winsor & Newton brush, I was like, wow, this is, like, I'd immediately feel, like, the impact buying a nice, high-quality sable brush made. But, yeah, they are pricey. Glad you like the editing, Bo. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Dolfo. Appreciate it. Have a good night yourself, and thanks for coming by. Hope to see you next time. Still got one line to do there. And there's the super chat coming through. So generous. Hopefully I didn't feel pressured after me just complaining about not having money because I don't have all those YouTube subs. I mean, I'm still very grateful for all the subs I have, don't get me wrong. Not enough to sustain my current growth, or sustain my current content, I should say. I know I'm still trying to figure out what exactly the best plan for me is, so I just appreciate all of your continued patience with me as I figure that out. Attack on Titan Jesta Custom. There's definitely something there. Oh, I finally gotta catch up on the Attack on Titan. I'm behind on tomorrow. It's gonna be great. Have 3 whole episodes to watch. Okay, so that's the first kind of outline of the Meridius Blue. Now I think I need to switch to a skinnier brush. When I first started watching Attack on Titan back in, like, I guess 2014 or 2015, I was a little like, this show's a little overhyped, but now that I'm like all the way in the what, 4th season. It's just such a good show. I love it. Just picking a brush here. I think we can use this one. This is also a sable brush, but it's a lot cheaper than Winsor & Newton. I don't know if it's a local brand only. Oh geez, sorry, that's like the 3rd time I bumped the camera tonight. I need to get used to my new setup. This brush, the brand is Gadzooks Gaming. I just got it from my local shop, so I don't know if this is like a small boutique brand or what. They're definitely not as high quality as the Winsor & Newton, but they were a lot cheaper, so that's fine. Okay, I think usually what I do here is start adding some white. But I did buy this new paint. I wanted to test out verdigris. Let's just get a little bit on palette here so we can see what it looks like. See ya, Kosher. Thanks for staying as long as you did. Happy you found a stream. Damn, this paint is pretty thick. Welcome back, Nathaniel. I'm glad you also liked the editing, Chusey. Okay, this verdigris is pretty bright. Yeah, this base might, like the way I'm painting the middle of these lines, will look slightly different from the other mechs, but the main gradient is the same, so that's totally good enough. Art by Ty 21. I'll show you the gunpla in a minute here. Oh, that's the wrong color. I needed arcane blue. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I showed off the kitbash. I'll do that again in a minute. Oh, nice, Caleb. Things are usually improved when you give them a sword. My favorite from the Builders series? Is that the series that like Barbatoros and Live Lance Heaven is from? Or are you talking about like Gundam Build Fighters? Who was asking? Art by Ty? This is the gunpla. I just started painting the orange on it today, that's why it's only on some parts of it. It's mostly Iron-Blooded Orphans kitbash. There it is. Hello, brick cross block. Don't know what you're laughing at, but hello. Anyways. One thick coat, yep. There's multiple painters online that swear by the one thick coat. I still, praise Lord Duncan Rhodes and his two thin coats. There's a time and place for 2 thin coats and a time and place for 1 thick coat. Thank you, Art by Ty. Yeah, the gun is from an LBX model, actually, LBX Fenrir. I painted one of those back in the fall, but I gave him a sword instead of a gun, so we're using the gun on this Gamma Wolves project. And I filmed the whole kit bashing process, so you'll see that in the next video. Don't worry. I don't know if I'll go on as many unhinged rants in the next video as I did in my High New video. I haven't finished the script yet. I haven't finished the model yet. Usually I finish the model, then I finish the script, you know? The 5th Chaos God, Duncan. Interesting, you'd think Duncan would be like the Chaos God and not like an order-aligned god. But, I mean, I can respect the Chaos Gods as well. Bo, which content creators do I recommend? Do you pick a niche of content? Because a lot of the content I watch isn't necessarily like related to gunpla or miniatures. Pick a subgenre of content and then I can give a recommendation. Or pick a niche, I should say, a niche of content. I don't know if... Yeah, I guess genre kind of applies to YouTube, but YouTube's still kind of the Wild West, you know? Oh, that line's a little messy. Maybe I should tidy that up just a bit. Studson Studio, that's one content creator I can recommend. Definitely recommend Studson Studio. The first video of his I saw was he made like a cyberpunk themed Shrek outhouse, and the Shrek figure that appeared in the video was like a Shrek themed Gundam kitbash. It was pretty great. You know, obviously for gunpla content, Studio G's good. I like watching Sanosuke's content as well, but it's in Japanese, so I understand that could be a barrier. I'm not good enough at Japanese to like, you know, be able to watch and understand her content without, like 100% without subtitles, but you can still, you know, watch her painting process and get a lot out of it. If you want some good cursed content, you should watch Lasagna Cat. Yeah, okay, so you've seen the same one, Nathaniel, then. Yeah, and then he's got like a donkey kitbash as well with that one like horse kit that I think was from G Gundam. I'm glad you're also a Studs fan, Nathaniel. Been watching a lot of like Total War Warhammer YouTubers as well. I don't know if that's like a content recommendation because it's pretty niche. It's like, yeah, if you're into Total War Warhammer, Turin is a really good YouTuber. Or Age of Empires 4, he plays a lot of that. But, you know, that's the thing with like YouTube recommendations. Like everything is like so niche and specific to like an individual's taste. It's like hard to know what to recommend or whether like your recommendations will land or not. Just because YouTube content could be so many different things. And everyone kind of looks for... Or like everyone has really specific tastes as to the content they choose to watch. I'm speaking in big generalizations, of course. Interesting, Nathaniel. Yeah, I found out about Studson because he commented on one of my videos like a long time ago. Something about the YouTube drew me and Studson's channels together. I don't know what, it just happened. Well, if it's hobby content, Bo, probably like, yeah, I would still definitely go with Studson Studio. The Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, that Sengoku Astray video, that was an important like turning point for me as well. Or like that was where I feel like I started to find more of what my video editing style was, or my video style in general. If you like Studson Studio, you might also like, there's this British guy called Bill Makes Stuff. He does like kind of similar crafting. I guess you would call it hobby adjacent, but there's like a stop motion animation channel called Toki GG that's good. That does like entertaining stop motion of toys and gunpla kits, but he'll do like the full assembly as an animation as well. And then there's a guy, I think his name's like Yushikiro. There's a guy who like probably like one of the most popular like Gundam stop motion animators. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but like you've probably seen. He has like a really popular video of like the new Gundam being assembled in a hangar, but the pieces are just like flying across the screen and the animation's super smooth. And he did one for the High New Gundam a while ago. Oh, there's another Japanese channel, or I think it's called, no, it's not Craft, it's Dan Creator. I think he does like really intense cardboard builds that are really entertaining. He made like an entire like 2-scale Gundam cockpit out of cardboard with like moving pieces and stuff, or I'll make like large, like build a train track kind of thing and make like a big artillery like track piece to go on it that will actually fire like a bottle cap or something. Well, if it's something to accompany painting or hobbying. Yeah, it's hard to recommend something not heavy because a lot of the stuff I've been watching lately has been heavy. Like just heavy video essays. Not really hobby related, but it's a channel Blue Parappa watches called LGR, and I'll do videos about like retro computer games or retro tech. It's like a just chill channel to have on, just listen to someone with like a friendly voice talk about old school computers. Okay, so that outline is done there, so now we'll do one last one with the verdigris, and then all that's left to do after that is the black rim. Hello, Ray. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you like the channel. Appreciate it. or bow. If you know, there's a channel called Invicta that's like historical based, but they had some sponsored videos with Creative Assembly, I believe, where they like did Warhammer history videos, so that was pretty cool. Like imagine like a high quality like YouTube history video, but they're talking about the history of like Grand Cathay and Warhammer Fantasy as opposed to like ancient Rome. Oh, speaking of history, there's a really good channel I like called History Buffs that's been around for a while, where they mostly do reviews of like historical movies and rate them on their accuracy and stuff. But I've definitely watched a lot of their videos. They're very entertaining. Alright, I'm trying out this verdigris color for the first time, and that's just gonna go in the middle part. I could switch to a smaller brush, but I don't think I need to for this base. It doesn't have to be a super precise line. But I do have to go a bit slower at it. Oh yeah, this is just as good as mixing in the white like I did on the last one. See what else I can use this verdigris color on throughout this project, maybe to highlight some black armor sections. Those parts are a little rough. The Gaming Chicken 360. How long does it take start to finish? Well, it depends project by project, but I think painting like Master Grade Barbatos probably took around like 50 to 60 hours. Heavy Arms probably was closer to like 30. Painting the LBX model, which didn't have a base, but still was the similar process. I think that one took around 25 hours. It's pretty time consuming. Like, I couldn't do it if I didn't enjoy the process. And any tips or advice? Don't be afraid of failure. You know, if there's a model that you really want to do good on, maybe find like a practice project to do first. You can like try and hone the techniques you want to do a good job on a kit you don't care about as much. And that's like your warm-up. Take baby steps, I'd say, as well. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you plan a project, or it's easy to like plan a project with really high ambitions and then get overwhelmed when you actually start doing the project. Thin your paints. Use primer. Believe in yourself. I don't know, it'll be hard for me to give any more advice unless you ask for something specific. Oh, and Juicy, my favorite model from the Builders Fighter series. Well, I always have a soft spot for the GNX. Was it, just looking at the box on the wall. What's it called exactly? Oh, the Striker GNX. I also like the, I don't own it, but it's the, I think it's the Kamiki Burning Gundam. The ones that come with those like fire effects parts and they're like the martial arts suits. Kind of based off God Gundam. I like those ones. I don't know the build series that well overall though, I'd say. So those are the only ones that really come to mind. What's your favorite? Sorry, I'm quiet now. This part takes a bit more concentration. We're almost done with this annoying thin line stuff though. Annoying thin crooked lines, more like. It's okay, the really bad crooked parts will just cover up with the mech's foot. The tri-burning. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that's one of the ones I was thinking of. Just some guy. I mean, I like the Barbatos Lupus Rex. I don't know if it's my favorite form of Barbatos. I don't know, it depends on if Bandai releases like a Master Grade Barbatos Lupus Rex, I'll probably paint that. To answer your question though, I don't have any current plans to paint the Barbatos Lupus Rex. That's all I'll say for now, I guess. Okay, I think that's the main like colorful part of the base done pretty much. What do y'all think? Thanks the Gaming Chicken 360. I'm assuming you're heading out then, so thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Paint bravely, yes, exactly. It's funny you say paint bravely. When you're asking for content recommendations, I almost recommended Paint Bravely the podcast, but maybe you already listened to that one. Okay, now the part I'm not looking forward to as much. Painting that rim. I guess I should keep using this small brush. It's gonna be some precision work. Thank you, Silly Shark 9000. Yeah, I've definitely stripped paint off before, but gotta be careful what you strip it off with and what the model is made of, because I've heard stories of people melting their models doing that before. The only things I've stripped before were pewter metal ones. Okay, let's get some black on the palette. Yeah, I can get behind that Cyber Scorpio. Maybe the Barbatos and Barbatos Lupus, they seem more like fighters, not barbarians. Or maybe Barbatos is a fighter, and then when he became Barbatos Lupus Rex, he decided to multi-class into barbarian. Yeah, what's annoying about painting the inside rim of these Reaper bases is they have this bit of a lip that you gotta get. This is probably the most precise I have to be the whole project, or the whole base. You can see how long it's taken me just to do that section. Oof. Alright, good luck with your test, Nathaniel. Thanks again for coming by. Have a good one. Got some paint in the ferrule there. Gotta jump on that. Okay, it looks like this base is gonna take up the entire stream. When I was about the halfway point, it felt like I was gonna finish the base way earlier than I thought. Funny how things go sometimes. Now to get the inside edge, I kind of have to hold it. I can't put it down. Sorry, I'm not as talkative right now. I just really don't want to mess up, you know, getting black on the nice turquoise blends I did. Hopefully y'all are just enjoying my concentration face. Okay, we've done like half of that room. Back to it. Let's get this room. going a bit faster now. Things are looking up. Okay, that's the inside of the room done. I think the coat's good enough throughout. Just gonna let that dry and then I can switch to the larger brush and do the easy, this edge of the base or the side. Or wait for that to dry, I'll give one last look at the kitbash here. And if you didn't see earlier, there are gonna be some wires here running from the gun into the backpack for that cool wired gun look. It's mostly 2 Iron-Blooded Orphans kits, the Astaroth and the Gushin Rebaked Full City. But this gun is from the LBX Fenrir kit. And I used a lot of G parts, like there's a G part there, one there, bunch on the backpack spot here. You'll be able to see the full kit bashing process when the video for this is out. Hopefully after not too long. I'm working on it right now, as you can see. Welcome back, Caleb. My favorite master grade kit. Out of all the ones I've built, it'd be the Barbatos, but truth be told, I haven't built that many master grades. I'm just looking at my box art on the wall. Yeah, I haven't built that many master grades. I have a few in my backlog, but out of the ones I have built, definitely Barbatos. I mean, it's easy to like Barbatos. It's a really good kit. My first master grade was Endless Waltz Heavy Arms, and it's a bit of a mediocre kit, but it's a bit on the older side, but also is very affordable, so no real complaints about that one. So it's maybe a good spot to start for a first master grade. I think I should probably put the glove on for this next part just because the amount of handling I'll be doing. Maybe this part I'll do slightly thinned and do 2 thin coats. Might need it. Is this one friend or foe? Well, they're all my friends, but this one is part of the Protagonists team, because the Antagonist team is done. It's got its 3 members. So I guess you would say this is a friend then? Oh, it depends on, pick a side, Horde or Alliance, aka the Protagonists, or, well, so for my Gamma Wolves team, you gotta pick Protagonists or Antagonists. If you pick the Antagonists, then the Protagonists are the foes. Sorry, that was a really long-winded way of answering your question. Yeah, you can see this paint's definitely gonna need 2 coats. Maybe I should have put it on in 1 thick coat, Bo. If you're still here. Alright, just give that a minute to dry. When the base is done, I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream, so if anyone has any questions they want to get in, or anything they want to share or say, now's the chance. Carefully just get a bit more paint on the top of the rim too. I think it just needs a little bit more. Some areas of the rim might need a 3rd coat. There might still be some gray showing through. Is anyone thinking to themselves, man, he should have painted that base rim goblin green? Second to dry and just do 1 more coat. I might like scuff it up a bit in the process of painting the kit, so I'll probably have to do another like final coat of black at the very end anyways. I'll just use 1 more droplet of paint. Yeah, I think I'll need to rearrange my stream setup slightly for the next one. This one doesn't feel 100% optimized. What got me into Gamma Wolves? I heard a couple people mention it on like just various gaming groups / YouTube. Like Heath, when he's doing hobby time in the murder basement, or I don't remember if he brought it up on one of those episodes or just on one of his streams he brought it up. And I also have been following the creator of Gamma Wolves and his various like YouTube projects for a while. I think I heard about Gamma Wolves from someone else first, like Heath, and then I saw it on Ash Barker's channel, because he does lots of painting and like tabletop gaming, so, and he's got a lot of experience, so he's written multiple games, and Gamma Wolves is just one of them. So I don't remember what it was first. It was probably Heath from Hobby Time in the Murder Basement. I'd like to think I've gotten more people, or like a decent amount of people into the game just from my like goof video. One day it'd be cool to meet Ash Barker in person and play a game with him. Unless I'd be really bad, that might be awkward. Which model was most difficult to build out of my Gundam ones? Yeah, good question. There's ones that like just took a while just because of the sheer complexity, like the real grade Hainu, but then there's ones that were also just like difficult because they weren't designed well. Like the Ava Unit 2 kit, it was not that it wasn't designed well, but everyone else, or like lots of people heard about the hip joint being really annoying on that, and I can confirm it was very annoying. Yeah, it's hard to say which one was the most difficult. That's the thing about Bandai kits is it's hard to come across one that's super difficult if they're like, you're talking about the modern ones, because they're just engineered really well. Obviously, like older, jankier kits, it's a different story. I find usually I don't find the building process the difficult part. Usually the difficult part is like getting them to hold poses and getting them into good poses after, or like the disassembly part. Yeah, I'm just looking at my box art wall now to see if I can answer your question better. The Master Grade Jesta was, I don't know, that one like makes me think of difficult, but I think that's more just because of the pre-posed, or the fully articulated hands. Alright, see ya, Bo. The stream's probably gonna end soon anyway, so thanks for coming by. Good luck dealing with that emergency. Alright, is this paint dry? Yeah, basically. Well, here's the finished base, everyone. So, this one took, I guess if you take into account the time I spent talking, say like maybe 2.5 hours for this one. Not counting the priming, a little bit of sanding I did on it. And yeah, so you kind of saw what that whole process was like. Hope you all enjoyed it. Will I paint or kitbash this Sinanju? Well, I don't own one of those. Maybe if I see one at one of my local shops, I'll pick one up. I don't know. Do I think I will? I don't know. I like the design of that suit, so I can see it happening someday. Thank you, Caleb. Well, in 20 seconds, the stream will hit 3 hours according to my computer, so I want to at least break 3 hours. Thank you to those who stayed and watched. Bring the kitbash out here one more time so you can see. It was a good motivation to get this base done. And I mean, this is just the base orange, it's not shaded or highlighted or anything yet, but it's gonna look so good next to the teal base. Can't wait. Teal and orange, it's a classic combo for a reason. Oh yeah, and I'm hoping to do another stream next week. Let me just look at my calendar for a sec here. I think I put a stream in here. Or like... Right. Yeah, tentative next stream will be next Friday, and I'll do it during the day, because I know a lot of you are spread out on different time zones, so... But you know, maybe if I have a bit more time than I thought I did, I'll do another one earlier, but I'd like to try and do streams more regularly, because I do have fun doing them. But you know, it's always the situation where the regular YouTube videos have to take priority, because that's just where it's at. Yeah, I think on that note, I'm gonna end the stream, so thanks again for watching, everybody, and hopefully I'll see some of you back at the next stream. Alright, well, have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.